Inaugural edition of the Toddcast. Former basketball player Todd Leary from Indiana, of course, and former broadcaster as well for the Indiana Hoosiers. Todd Leary we're going to try something different tonight. Instead of waiting till the game is over, we're going to watch it together while it's going on, and Todd's going to comment and give you his insights into what's going on, what he thinks should be going on, your comments and questions. I'll be keeping track of those as well. So don't be afraid to fire those in and tell your friends we're here, baby. Welcome aboard to the Toddcast. The Todd Father, Todd Leary.
Boy, this is we're really going out on a limb here, filming me live watching a game, because sometimes this can get a little ugly. I do a lot of yelling at the TV, which I know most fans do. So we'll just feel this out and see how it goes. I'm gonna try to be on my best behavior. I promise.
Oh, that's okay. We're looking forward to it. Starters tonight for Indiana, if you haven't seen already, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Trey Galloway, Miller Kopp, Jordan Geronimo, and Trace Jackson Davis. On the other side for Penn State, it scooted up there, Andrew Funk, Cameron Winters, Seth Landry, Kenneth Nike, and the man, Pittman, man. He is a bad man. Pickett rather, is a bad guy.
He might be the best player in the conference. Like he's probably the toughest player to guard in the conference. And you know, there's some really good players in this league, but Jalen Pickett he's as good as anyone.
And we're underway. So I hope you guys are watching the game and enjoying it. And I'm going to try to keep up with your comments and questions. And there'll be a lot more people joining us as we get going along. There wasn't a link set out per se, so they may not know that they can just jump on.
Yeah, I mean, looking forward to kind of the point of this is to interact with fans a little bit while it's going on. It's going to be difficult because I'm so used to kind of just focusing on what's going on in the game, but we're going to give it a shot.
Well, Jordan Geronimo just got loose for a bucket. It's good to see some output from him early on. That's got to be a great sign for Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, it comes off of almost an air ball shot because the shot clock was running down, but yeah, it looks like it's going to count. I think that hit the rim. Oh, they say it didn't hit the rim. They didn't count it.
Wow.
They called a shot clock violation. I thought the way they acted, they were calling a shot clock violation.
It looked like the ball changed its trajectory. I don't know if it just hit the backboard.
Yeah, I thought it did too. But I mean, the first possession out, you know, after a tough loss, tough couple losses. I mean, Indiana with not a great offensive possession. So hopefully that's just not a sign to come.
Well, and on the stats broadcast, they're still showing 2 points up there.
Wow.
And now it's
so
Jalen
Hood-Schifino just made an extremely difficult shot. A running left-handed layup. I mean, this guy he's definitely picked up his game.
His offensive output has climbed since Xavier went out.
Yeah.
And part of that's been forced.
Yeah, and you're looking at with Xavier out. I mean, all the shots that Xavier was taking, you know, it's got to be picked up by someone. And as well as he's playing and kind of shooting the ball right now, I mean, he's probably the one you want to take the majority of Xavier's shots.
Do you have a damn it doll?
I don't. I used to have a little ball I would throw, but the TV didn't like that very well. It was kind of a hollow little soft thing, but it broke. Oh, good help side defense. Indiana early on is at least doing a pretty good job of rotating.
Good passing with the ball, and they're knocking down the triple.
Yeah, I mean, a good start. I mean, we've seen this. Indiana's not had trouble getting started a lot of times, although I guess they struggled against Northwestern last week. But I mean, Iowa, they jumped off to a good start. They've had some decent starts to games. I like the flow of the way things are going right now. They're kind of playing loose defensively. You can kind of see a game plan. I mean, so far you can kind of see the switches and the rotations that they're trying to get, but still, it's early. It's pretty easy to focus on the game plan. Getting tired is when it becomes difficult. I mean, this Penn State team is not your typical Penn State team. I mean, I've heard a lot of people in the last week say, you know, how do you lose to Northwestern? that was a pretty good Northwestern team. It's at least a good offensive team, especially in that game. And it wasn't just a matter of Indiana not getting to shooters and then making shots. Like that's a decent offensive team Northwestern had. And this is definitely a good offensive team that Penn State has. This is not your typical Penn State team you should run out of the gym. Any team with Pickett on it's going to be good.
Trace Jackson-Davis just took a 14-foot jump shot.
Yeah, I hope he takes 7 more of those. That's been the problem. He misses that one, and then he won't shoot anymore. I mean, until he misses like 7 in a row, he needs to keep shooting it. Yeah, that's not a good sign. I mean, that's just a tough shot. I mean, I guess you can say they didn't react quick enough, but I mean, that's a difficult shot that he made. Another cop with a mid-range jumper. I tell you, one of the things that frustrated me in the last Northwestern game was, I know he transferred here last year. He played here all of last year, but that's his former team. Guys, a lot of guys on that team he played a lot of minutes with and did a lot of workouts with. And he only took 2 shots in the game. And that's just like, it's almost like he didn't have a fire to go kill those guys. And that surprised me. Yeah, I mean, this Funk character, I mean, you cannot let him get anywhere near an open look because he will make everything. And if he gets hot, you're in trouble. He doesn't come in with a lot of notoriety, but, man, I've watched him shoot in a couple of their games, and he has a beautiful-looking jump shot, and it generally goes in. Yeah. Oh, man, good aggressive play by Trey Galloway. Those are the buckets Indiana needs right there. When their offense is struggling, when you can get that kind of secondary break, that was almost just the initial break, but when you can get a break and an easy basket like that, that is such a pick-me-up. Makes things so much easier. Obviously not just for that possession, but, oh, what a block by Geronimo. Trying to keep my mouth closed.
Boy.
Well, the turnovers are killers. Like that turnover by Trace. And so Trace and Jalen got a lot of credit for how well they played because of how many points they scored and rebounds they got against Northwestern. But some of their turnovers were killers. And that turnover right there from Trace is an absolute killer. I mean, it should have been 2 points for Indiana. Instead, it's 3 for Penn State. And that's an absolute killer.
Well, Jordan Geronimo is
involved
making
in the action, really, isn't he?
Yeah, he's and some obviously Mike Whitson has to have been in his ear. Someone has to be in his ear. They have to have more production out of him, or they cannot win. They're not going to win with Jalen Hood-Schifino and Trace Jackson-Davis scoring 20 and 30 points a game.
Yeah, and again, like, you know, let's stress to everyone, this is our first time doing this during a game. So I mean, we're gonna have some awkward moments here, back and forth. I know I get caught watching the game and not talking, which I'm sure a lot of people like. But you know, in this case, I kind of went through and I'll talk more obviously during these timeouts. But I went through and kind of grouped what the production you would expect out of this team tonight in order to get a win, and you know, I kind of based it off of 75 points as what the offense needs to have in their output. And if they should be able to win a conference game scoring 75 points. I know obviously they didn't the other day, but in general, that's what you should be able to win in conference, scoring 75. And out of that, you know, the really difficult part, you talked about Geronimo just a minute ago, but you can kind of lump guys together in groups. So you know, you take Geronimo, Tamar Bates, Trey Galloway, that whole group of people, and you've got to have some real positive production, enough positive production to make up for Race and Xavier not being in the game. And so those guys have to play above their expectation and the level that we have for them. I mean, I looked at what these guys are scoring. I mean, averaging 6 points a game. You've got Tamar averaging 9 points a game and Geronimo averaging 5 points a game. And when you look at that, you've got to make up for Xavier Johnson, who was averaging just under 10 points a game, and Race that's averaging 9 points a game. So 19 points has to be made up. You can't really expect much of that to come from Trace because Trace is already averaging almost 18 points a game. So you've got to have, you get a couple extra points out of Trace. You get a couple extra points out of Jalen Shafino maybe, but otherwise you've got to have guys play above their averages and their expectations to make up for the guys who aren't there. And that's where, like, Geronimo's off to a good start. Like, he is – I know they've been trying to get him jump-started into these games, and it really hasn't worked out that well. Tamar's had a couple of good outings, but offensively, these guys have got to be able to come in and play above their averages of what they have just to make up for the guys that aren't in there. And, like I said, off to a good start. He's only scored 2 points, but off to a pretty good start by Geronimo early in this game.
Yeah, you mentioned the turnovers. If it hadn't been for that, this would be a really good start for Indiana.
Yeah. Joey Green with the Galloway needs to be more aggressive. 100% agree.
And
this is one of the things you look at.
And I agree with Pete. BB's for JC. I 100% agree.
But when you look at Galloway, Geronimo, Tamar, all of them need to be more aggressive. And you can't have games where those guys are only shooting 2 or 3 shots. Like, that's not aggressive. And this is what I think is part of the frustrating issue with Indiana fans. There's been a lot of talk about Indiana fans' interaction with players and letters they're writing to them and different things. And, Indiana fans just get a little bit frustrated when guys, don't pick their game up and don't play above the expectation level. And, it's time for guys to step up and do that. It's time for guys to, back up the talk that they had all summer long and all the preseason predictions for everybody. It's time to back that stuff up.
And while we're sitting here, in the future, Todd is planning on having guests on here so you don't have to look at me and listen to me, and it'll be a lot more fun. But we thought we'd go ahead and just get the first one out of the way and go through some stuff. But I'm looking forward to those. But Penn State back with the ball, or Indiana with the ball now.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana, a good defensive possession on an out-of-bounds play. Those are difficult to defend under the basket. Indiana did a good job forcing pretty much a terrible shot from Penn State, and that's just good defense.
Jordan Geronimo
another
is working at it, and then
he is.
He gets the foul on the next attempt, but he's working hard early, and that's the kind of effort that people have been looking for. And
if he's going to end the game with 4 fouls, 2 of them ought to be exactly like the one he just got, where you're trying to get an offensive rebound. Here's where that whole possession would have gone bad for Jalen Hood-Schifino, because the reason Geronimo got a foul is because Jalen took a terrible shot. That was a settled shot. You hear coaches all the time talk about, we settled for that shot. That isn't the shot Indiana worked it around to get. They could have gotten that shot at any point in time. And I kind of hate to hear people say that a lot, because they generally only say that when a player misses. But most of the time they do that. But it's just a scenario where that was one you could tell the ball wasn't worked around. That wasn't what they were trying to get. Even though Jalen could make that shot, that's not the one they were trying to get. And in turn, Geronimo picks up a foul out of it. Yeah, I mean, you could tell one of the offensive objectives right now is to drive the ball and get into the lane. That's Geronimo with a good drive right there. He just wasn't able to finish.
Indiana now on a scoring drought, Todd. They're 0 for their last 4.
Non-TJD, I think they have 10 each. Other starters on the bench. Yeah, Howard, I was sitting here trying to put it together and what these guys have to do. You're right. 10 points doesn't seem like too much to ask for guys to come in. Basically everyone has a green light until you shoot yourself out of it. I mean, everyone's kind of got a green light. And yeah, they like for Trace to touch the ball a lot, but things are going to be a lot easier for Trace if other guys are contributing. Geronimo is really active early. This is a good sign. This is going to get him a lot of minutes I kind of thought Malik might be the guy that would fill that role right now, but Geronimo is making a strong bid right now for a lot. That's a foul you can't have right there, especially when you're then already on the bench in that position. And I mean, that's where if we weren't on TV, I would have smacked my table right now, because that's a bad foul from Jalen. That's just, now he's got to be careful, and it's just unnecessary. I think Indiana fans are kind of used to Xavier having those kind of fouls. He would have a
Geronimo,
foul, just unnecessary.
man, Geronimo, shut Pickett down.
Not easy to do. Yeah, I mean that's as good as you're ever going to do against that guy. That Jalen Pickett is, he's as good as they get when it comes to a guy with the ball creating a shot. And I just kept it in front of him. How many times did you hear Indiana fans on Twitter or on things when they're criticizing guys? And I get it. Hey, I've been as frustrated as anyone. But just talk about keeping players in front of you. And that's all Geronimo did right there.
Well, now and then on scoring on the other end.
Yeah.
A great start for Jordan Geronimo. 4 points early. He's 2 of 3 from the field and has 3 rebounds.
Yeah, 2 of them are offensive, I think, aren't they? Maybe all 3 of them.
One.
Good look from – yeah, it's a good look from Trace.
I can't tell.
Yeah, well, I know he's got at least 2 offensive rebounds. So he's just active. I mean, that's what you want out of that position. I mean, it's going to be – I think Indiana coaching staff have been waiting to see who's going to step up and be the guy that comes in and kind of demands he's going to get the playing time. And I think Malik is a guy early in the season we all thought would, fight, almost race for kick and race out of the lineup. But man, it's not happened for him. He's not clicked yet so far this early Big Ten season. Not to say it won't. What's that?
I ain't gonna lie, this BB's pulled pork is outstanding.
Yeah, I indulged into the thing I rave about every week, and the catfish bites from Southern Stone. I'm not gonna lie to you, I already put an order of those down today. Sorry, just checking stats out here real quick. Indiana 6 of 13 to start the game, 0 for 3 from 3. It's early. I don't count a whole lot into that right now. I'm only giving you the stats, not complaining about it. Indiana has 2 turnovers in the first 8 minutes of the game. Was that timeout? Was that timeout called by Penn State? Doesn't show it on here. But we're not to the 12-minute mark. So yeah, I know. I don't know what that timeout was. It's right after an Indiana basket. So unless they were reviewing something, I think it had to be a Penn State timeout, and that's a good sign. I mean, I don't know what other people think about it, and I mean, it's easy to criticize it right now, and because it seems to only happen obviously during bad games. But Mike Woodson, I hate to say, is going to have to learn, but I think needs to just make a deal with himself. He's not going to call 2 timeouts in the first half anymore. It's never worked out to Indiana's advantage. I know he did it last year in the Wisconsin game when the Indiana blew the big lead. He did it, I think, in the Iowa game. He did it in the Northwestern game. That's just something you don't see other coaches do. And he's got to stop calling that second timeout. If you want to use the waste one, early in the first half, that's fine. But this is not the NBA where you basically have unlimited timeouts and you can call one, 3 a quarter if you want to. But you only get 4 for the game. If you don't use it, you only get 3 for the second half. You've got to carry that 3 over to the second half. It's too important. And Mike Woodson is one of the very few coaches that is willing to call that second timeout in the first half. And I hope he gets away from that, because it's bit Indiana a couple times. We got any comments from anyone? I can't usually see them very well, but we got a guy with a nice Hoosier daddy across his chest. I usually make a smart aleck comment about somebody like that when I'm not on TV, but keep it to myself. Did you see the stat of what's his name? Miles Dredd. Miles Dredd has taken 84 shots this year. 84. How many of you think are threes? How many you think are threes?
0.
80.
Oh, my God.
80 of his 84 shots are threes. How about that? Man,
holy cow. How's that even possible?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a special. I think a guy of his size, he's 6'3", 260. You would think a guy like him would get in and post up and get fouled a lot more, but nope. He's Malik Renew in early in this game. I like it. He does not look comfortable in the first offensive possession, but it's early. We got a good post position. You got to get him that ball, Tamar. Come on. To his left hand, that's a great move. I don't care if it went in or didn't go in. Fortunately, it did, but that's just a good possession all the way around. I thought Tamar should have got him the ball a little bit early. You know, that's one of the things that I wish we could break that down a little bit. But Tamar drove his man towards the guy he was throwing to, and that just doesn't make any sense. That would have got you yanked out of the game back in the Bob Knight era. But, I mean, still, the ball got there. It was a good move. Got to his left hand, a really good all-around play, a good offensive possession that looked like Indiana accomplished what they were trying to, get the ball into Malik. Jordan Geronimo for 3. That did not look good from the beginning.
He's piling up the rebounds, though. He's got 4 to go along with 4 points.
Yeah. I mean, Malik with a good tap back. Malik looks more engaged early in this. Man,
boy, they just cannot buy a 3-point shot.
They fire a lot of threes. 50% of their shots are 3-pointers.
I'm talking about Indiana. Indiana can't buy one.
Well, yeah, that's
0 for 5 right now.
Yeah, and that's again. I think the person who takes the most forced shots on Indiana's team is Jalen. Jalen settles for a lot more, even 17 to 21 footers. Like he settles for a lot of shots early-ish in the shot clock. And he's capable of making them. That's the bad part. He's capable of making them. Indiana's defense. I'm not a guy who says you need to work it around 4 passes or you need to use a certain amount of clock. I do not believe in that. But I do believe in it if you're just stopping and shooting a 17-footer. If it's a 15-footer, I'm all for it all day long. 17, 19 feet, no, I'm not. Ooh, offensive foul. Good job, Malik. Boy, that's a big deal for a freshman. To take a charge early in the game, I'm going to exaggerate the fact that he's a freshman because that's a big deal for him to get involved in the game. He's got a nice basket. He got a nice tip out, even though Indiana didn't get the rebound, and he takes a charge. That is a fantastic play by Malik. This is going to be one of Malik's better starts to Big Ten games so far this year.
That was a bad shot by Tamar. Takes a bad shot.
Yeah,
I guess he's
you're ahead of me.
hoping to draw the foul
a little bit because I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, you're ahead of me. Yeah, I mean, was it a bad shot? You think because he went off the wrong foot? Like
I think,
it's
in the
lane. It's in the lane. I'll take that shot.
He was probably thinking he's going to get a foul. He was just
and I think so
unsquared
too.
up.
I think
he couldn't
so
get
too.
square.
But I mean, any shot, like I will say this, any shot in the lane, I don't care what's on the shot clock, and I don't care who takes it. But I will take Indiana taking any shot they can get into the lane. Now, it looked awkward because he got bumped, and I think he went off the opposite leg he should have. He wasn't able to get his balance, and, yeah, it didn't look good. I agree with you. But I'll still take that over the one that Jalen Schifino took from 18 or 19 feet. Like, that's a better shot. Even Jalen probably has a better chance of making his. But I'll take Indiana getting into the lane as much as they can. You can tell one of the early focuses for this offense is to drive the ball and get it into the lane. Get some more shots going towards the basket. And if you watched Penn State and Purdue, Pickett was much more involved in the game of that offensively than he has been so far in this one. Now, I hate to say that because he'll start getting really involved.
Well, Pickett just hit his first bucket.
No, Lundy just missed Lundy just made that. Lundy.
Oh, I thought that was Pickett.
Yeah, Lundy he just missed from that same spot just 2 possessions ago. And anytime a guy gets to shoot from that same spot, boy, I bet the percentage goes up 10% in their ability to make that shot. As soon as it went up, I thought he had a good chance of making it because he just missed from there. Good look out. Get in there.
Another missed 3 for Indiana.
For 6. Another offensive board. That's a miss.
Indiana has not hit a field goal in their last 5 attempts or the last 238.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, that's not a huge deal right now. I like the shot they took. Tamar had to take that shot. I like Trace getting rid of the ball quickly. The double team was on its way. It wasn't there yet.
Bad turnover.
Yeah, you're ahead of me. I don't. I'm just seeing the turnover.
I think everybody's ahead of you. Yeah, that's just a unnecessary. That's another unforced error. Throwing that ball away.
That's really the kind right there that kill you. I mean, you can't have that. I know people talk about live ball turnovers, but that's just giving the possession away. It's not a live ball. They're not going to go down and score right away off of it, but you just give away an offensive possession. And I just don't feel like Indiana values possessions as well as they should.
Well, they're certainly not playing defense well enough on the perimeter as Northwestern Penn State knocks another one down.
Yeah,
they're now 6 of 10, I believe, from behind the arc.
Yeah, if Lundy gets hot, you're in trouble because he's playing at home. He can get it going. It could be a long night. They're 5.
They're 5 of 10. They're hitting 50%. They've hit as many threes as Indiana has taken, and Indiana has hit 0.
Well, but I mean, a bigger part of their game plan is shooting threes. So I mean, they're going to make more obviously than Indiana, but they're going to shoot a lot more of them also. You're right. I mean, their comfort level is outside the arc, and Indiana's defensive ability out there has hurt them.
They're certainly leaving. Are they over-rotating, leaving the guy on the perimeter as wide open as they're getting?
I mean, I'll call it under-rotating because when the first guy goes, the next rotation guy has got to go as well. And when you see, it's almost like I describe it this way a lot. So imagine everybody's on a string, okay? And so if one guy goes to help, the next guy attached to him has to move towards his man. And what becomes the difficulty on an offensive end is if you get a team that's rotating 2 or 3 guys, if you hear me say 2 or 3, they got 2 or 3 rotations on that one, that's very difficult to play against offensively. Indiana's getting the 1 rotation, so a guy's coming to help, and then the kickout's being made, and Indiana is either too slow or not rotating at all, and that's what happened in Northwestern. They got 3 after 3, which was wide open. In this game, that's what you're seeing so far. You're not seeing that next guy rotate. And you could say, okay, they can't rotate off of Funk. They don't want to leave him, but you can't leave wide open shooters. And especially if Lundy's one of them. Lundy is almost just as good a shooter as Funk is. So, that's where you could call it over rotating. They've got to help. Like you have to help. Help defense is what, you can't guard everybody one-on-one. The best offensive player is going to beat the best defensive player if they're just playing one-on-one. And that's just a fact. And so you've got to be able to help defense, but you've got to have that second and third rotation or help, and that's where Indiana is not getting it. I mean, if we were to do a telestrator right now, I would show you what I mean. But look at the guy that's 2 passes away from the ball, or 2 people away from the ball, and he's the guy that has to be attached to that string. So if the one guy goes to help, it's a string, but I'll call it like a bar. Because you've got to rotate the same time he does. You can't wait until that pass is made. And then the tricky part, Jim, is then the next guy has got to rotate also to where the guy who ends up probably being the most open is the guy 4 passes away from the ball or to the other end or to the other side of the floor. And so, I mean, I know it's kind of hard probably to envision what I'm saying, but it just really – It's really an effort thing where you got to see it ahead of time. You got to be able to rotate. That's where that's one of the biggest things I think players learned or adjusted to learn playing under a Bob Knight system. What was the help defense? Because you're kind of taught not to leave people. You're kind of taught, stay with your man and that stuff and don't overhelp. There's no such thing as overhelp in a Bob Knight defense. There's an under rotate.
Quickly, I just want to mention I sent out a tweet. And if you hit that up, and if you help out, reach out, give a helping hand if you can. But just look at my Twitter account, and you can see that. And thanks to you, Big John. Let's see. Make sure I'm not missing any questions or comments.
Thanks, Dadney.
He's just saying very good explanation.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, these turnovers are going to make me say bad things. Man. The first half, I'm going to try to stay positive. Stay positive. Focus on what we can do, not what we're doing bad.
Penn State's on a 8-0 run right now. Indiana's missed their last 6 shots and 3 turnovers in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Now they're 1 of 7.
Well, you've got a lineup in there right now that, CJ Gunn comes in as a offensive guy, and he's got to become offensive.
Nice block.
Well, he is. Give it up now. There you go.
Now, okay, watch this offensive rollout. Nice passing. They get the ball inside in fluid motion and scores. Why does that not happen more frequently?
Because that's a secondary break. So that is, I know it wasn't a fast break where people think you make 2 passes and one guy lays it in. That's a secondary break where the defense never had a chance to get set. Indiana was moving the ball, and they got it to the point where they had everybody spread out. They had good spacing. They did a good job by CJ Gunn kicking it back out, and Trace was able to make a wide open move in there. And so, like that possession right there, you see there's 4 guys around Trace in there. There's 4 defensive guys around. That's not on a break. They're set up. They're where they want to be defensively. And the possession prior to that, Indiana got it down. Although it wasn't immediate, they were able to make 3 passes before Penn State was able to get set, and they were spread out. They got the ball to Trace where he's the best with it, right in the middle of the lane. He's able to go to his left hand and make a good basket. And that's the difference, is that secondary break is still, it's not really you setting up your offense. And that's why, Jim, I mean, when Indiana sets up their offense, that's when they go these big droughts without baskets, because the offense is just stagnant. There's not enough movement. Well, Indiana's done a good job on Pickett so far. I mean, he's going to score some baskets. You're not going to hold him down.
Lundy's the one that's going crazy.
Yeah, Lundy's got 14. He's 4 for 7 already from 3. I mean, Pickett's got 5 points, but I mean, he averages 18 or whatever. Like he's gonna get some points. He's gonna have the ball in his hands a lot. Yeah, Lundy's the guy who's killing Indiana right now.
They got lucky on that turnover by Penn State.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often either. That's Jalen Pickett. Everybody expecting him to shoot, which he normally does that shot, and he's really good at it. That's a mistake on his part. That's not the guy who didn't catch the pass. Everyone expected him to shoot that shot. Yeah.
And if everybody wants to, everybody should just delay their broadcast in like 30 seconds. They'll be caught up with you
to catch up with me.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got Hulu. I'm on Smithville. I don't know how to speed it up. I tried restarting it. It's slow. I'm behind everybody. But hey, you know what? I've been slow mentally my whole life, so this is normal for me. I'm used to being behind everybody else.
There you go. Pete says, just go old school. Get you a dry erase board.
Dry erase? I just get some chalk.
There you go.
A chalkboard. Yeah, I need a telestrator. I need all kinds of stuff in here. Hey, I'm doing pretty good. If you'd have told me I was going to go 15 minutes into this game without a cuss word, I would have bet again. I'd have bet the under.
Indiana now 1 of their last 8 as they trail 24-18. Is this up to date? What are you doing here? Clock's not running.
Cannot let Funk shoot it. You say it over and over again. That's the guy you can't rotate off of. If anyone's not gonna help, it's gonna be the guy guarding him. Turnover. That's just those are difficult.
Man, Indiana just letting it slip a little bit here. This last 5 minutes of this half, they've got to maintain composure. They've got to stay in this game. Mike Woodson takes a timeout before the under 4 timeout, so he knows that he cannot let this go any further, that they've jumped up 8 points on them, and Indiana's one of their last 8, like I said, 0 for 6 from behind the arc, while Penn State's 6 of 12.
Yeah, and I mean, that's right on the money for them. I mean, that's what you expect out of them. You're not going to hold them, even no matter what your focus is defensively, to keep them from making threes. Like, you're not going to run them off the line enough to where they're not going to make some. They've got 5 different guys that all shoot it well. You're not going to keep them. You're not going to keep them from making shots. You've just got to try to limit it. And at the other end of it, you got to make some on your own. I mean. Where would you expect Indiana to be with 0? Where would you expect any team right now to be 15 minutes into the first half and have 0 made 3-pointers? You'd expect them to be down 8 to 10, which is right where they're at. So they got to make shots. They've got to quit turning the ball over. I mean, if you want to look at the positive side of it, thanks, Doug. Appreciate that. If you want to look at the positive side of it, they haven't made any threes and they've turned the ball over a ton, and they're only down 8. So, you got to look at, Howie, your comment there about back cuts. I mean, this is something that I've thought about a lot with Indiana, and I'm going to use Purdue and Zach Edey as an example, because I think Indiana and Purdue have very similar plans in what they try to do, and that is to pound the ball inside to their big guy. And the difference between the two teams is, when Indiana throws the ball inside to Trayce Jackson-Davis, 4 people stand there and watch him see what he's going to do. When they throw the ball into Zach Edey on Purdue, you see people cutting, back cutting, screening. They come off of those. They run that wheel thing where they just get guys running in a circle. But whether you think that's good or bad, it's motion. It's people moving. And that becomes harder to guard. You know how easy it is to guard players when Trayce Jackson-Davis gets the ball? Now, it's hard for the guy guarding him, but for everybody else, it's very easy because Indiana players just stand. And I don't know if that's by design. I don't know. That's more of a, pro style NBA type thing. And so, did Mike Woodson bring that? I don't know. I kind of think Indiana's always done that with Trayce Jackson-Davis inside. And Trayce is a guy who's great at scoring in secondary break, on the break, offensive rebounds. Trayce is not overly talented offensively. In a half-court offensive set, throwing him the ball, he's average at best in that position. Now, he's a great player. Please don't anyone think I'm saying Trayce is an average player. He's one of the best players to ever play at Indiana, and I firmly believe that. But he's a lot better when the team gets other stuff going on. They make it a lot easier on him because he's scoring baskets the hardest way possible. I mean, he's scoring against everybody, and that's hard to do. I mean, right there, he takes the ball to the basket. He's got his man guarding him. He gets a guy coming over from the side. He gets the pin down coming from his own side. It's difficult for him to maneuver like that. And there's no movement by Indiana.
Good point by Fred. Penn State is the oldest team in the NCAA.
Boy, when you look at their starting lineup, senior.
It's like last year, was it Wisconsin that was older than the Chicago Bulls?
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah. I mean, look, Indiana's not young, though, so, I mean, we can't really sit there and say that. But not only are they seniors, they've played a ton of minutes, a ton of basketball. And Pickett's probably the craftiest player in the entire Big Ten. I mean, what's interesting about Pickett? So, I mean, just watch him on here. Jim, do you know how tall he is? Don't look it up. Do you know how tall Pickett is?
I would guess that he's 6'6".
Yeah. So when you look at him on the floor, I would have guessed he was 6 foot. I mean, he looks like a little guy because he's kind of thick and all that. He's 6'4". I mean, he's a point guard that's 6 foot.
Charles Barkley, baby.
225. And he handles it well. He shoots it well. He's very under control. It's just, yeah, he's a sneaky good player. There's
Galloway
a good
with
cut
a nice
by Indiana.
move.
Yeah, that's an all around good play. Again, Jordan Geronimo, very involved in what's going on. That's a great assist out of him. Points in the paint. Indiana's leading 14-4. Yeah. What about points behind the arc? Indiana is trailing
0,
0.
0, and 0. Yeah.
18-0. There's a good
Actually,
help, and there's the rotation. That's exactly the rotation. If everyone watched that possession, Jordan Geronimo did not rotate. He waited to rotate. That should be the poster child for how bad Indiana rotates on defense, because that was just that was terrible. Like, that was awful. That's something you cannot do. You would teach Bloomington South to rotate better than that. That just pisses me off.
And the thing is, the players should not be doing that have been here this long.
You can't. I don't care what you're taught. I don't care where you are. Like, if guys go up to the hyper building and play, you're going to see better rotation than what you just saw right there. Like, Jordan Geronimo, I'm giving him tons of credit for his effort and what he's done so far. That was terrible rotation. That's why you can't play him. That's why he can't stay in the game. I'm losing my temper, but that just pisses me off. Like, that's little effort bullshit stuff. That gives them their 7th three-pointer of the half. That just makes me mad. Like, you can't do that. That's 3 points you just gave away.
Well, here comes another one for you.
Oh, Funk, that's the one guy you can't let go. 8 3-pointers in the half. Like, come on.
8.
What are they? 8 for what?
24, 8 of 14.
8 of 14, yeah.
57%. I mean, that's 24 points just on 3-pointers to 0 for Indiana.
To the 0 part is the killer. I mean, Indiana's down 10, and you've given up 24-0. Yeah, and see, that's not Trace's game. Going one-on-one in the half court, that's not what Trace is good at. Trace is good at a whole bunch of things. That's not one of them.
Penn State has hit their last 4 shots and on a 6-0 run just over the last 49 seconds. They've hit 5 of their last 5, rather. And in 49 seconds, they're on a 6-0 run. Indiana down 13 now.
Well, that must mean this basket goes in. How can you be that far ahead of me?
You're not going to enjoy this 3-pointer.
Yeah. That's a tough shot. That one's a tough shot. But yeah, I mean,
heat check.
You can't let him catch
heat check.
You can't let him catch it. Like, you can't let him catch that ball. Like Jordan Geronimo, you can't let him catch it. Made that way too easy. You try to play defense after the fact. Like, why? Like, just don't let him have it. Oh my gosh, they're gonna get blown out of this game. Yeah, this is on the verge of getting ugly. Oh boy. They got lucky. Yeah, Indiana got lucky there because.
Yeah, Trey Galloway trying to get a little more into the game offensively, draws a foul.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right. Hey, who was it earlier that said he needs to be more aggressive? You're right. I mean, it might have even been Howie that said that. But man, this is difficult. It's difficult to watch. Like, it really is. Like, Indiana right now. I'm an Indiana fan. I love Indiana. I grew up loving Indiana. I will always love Indiana. I do not like watching Indiana play right now. They suck. They're not good offensively. They're not good defensively. I don't think they try hard. I don't think they try smart. I don't think they play very smart. I think they make it difficult on the coaches. This is not a fun team to watch play right now. And yeah, I mean, we got a lot of season left to go. And, you got guys fighting with people on Instagram, and this is just, there's a lot of stupidity going on in Indiana basketball right now. Stupid things. I don't mean people.
John shut it off. He's just listening to you entertain him right now.
Yeah, John, I mean.
And he also asked the question, though. He says he doesn't understand how they've gone so far backwards defensively. Now understand the loss of Xavier. That covers some of it.
And here's like I'll tell you this. I will say this. The Xavier Johnson loss is a bigger loss than just his stats, because if I asked you right now, who's the one guy on this team that's a dog? Like, who's the one guy that's mean as hell that you don't want to fight? Who's the guy you don't want to fight? I would say Xavier Johnson.
Oh yeah. Besides, that's available right now.
That's the dude you don't want to fight, and he's way more valuable than the points and the assists and the stuff he puts on the stat sheet. And Indiana doesn't have that. And so everybody on our team, like, this is going to come across wrong. I know nobody's going to like this, but this is what our team is. Everybody on our team is a good guy. Okay? There's not very many teams where everybody on the team's a good guy. I need some assholes. I need some guys that are jerks on my team. I need good guys, yes, but I need some jerks. And we got a bunch of super nice guys.
There's plenty of guys who have been asses on the court, but not off the court. They know it's it's just being it's competitive nature. And
yeah, it's competitive, but it's also,
I mean, that deep
streak.
Deep down competitive.
Would anyone ever describe, who was the goofball from Wisconsin last year that played 9 seasons?
Brad Davidson.
Would anybody describe him as a good guy, as a nice guy? No, he's a dickhead. Nobody likes him. But everybody on his team likes him. Everybody wants to play with him. Everybody wants to pick him. They want him on their team. And Indiana doesn't have any of those jerks. They don't have any guys that are, except I would call Xavier that, and I mean that in the most complimentary way possible. As a basketball player, as an athlete, you want somebody to call you a jerk. I want to be a good teammate. I want my guys to know if I need to go cut somebody's legs out from under them because they're taking Trace Jackson Davis out, I will. I don't think anybody on our team would do that, and except for Xavier, and we don't have him. So it's a much bigger loss than just him not putting the stats on there that he normally puts out there. So, I mean, what do we say? Halftime, what's the score? I mean, what are we down?
37-26, Indiana down by 11 to Penn State. They are shooting 42% versus only 48% for Penn State. It's not that they've got 3 more field goals in Indiana, but unfortunately, they've 8 of them have come from behind the arc. Indiana finally hits a 3-point shot there. I missed that. Tamar Bates hit one right before the head. Indiana now 1 of 7 from behind the arc versus 9 of 17 in the first half for Penn State. 53% from behind the arc.
Well, and I mean, on the season, 50% of their shot attempts are 3-pointers. So it's not unusual. They're above 50% right now because they're going in. So, you know, why wouldn't you? And look, this is a small team. Like they're not a big team. They're not going to pound it inside on you kind of team. So you know what you've got ahead of time. And, you know, they're executing it well. They're doing a good job. Indiana's making it easy on them.
And the bad thing about that is they're not a team that's going to pound it inside, but they're leading Indiana 14-6 with points in the paint.
No, it's the opposite. Indiana's leading.
Oh, yes, it is. I'm sorry. You're right. I was like, dag on it.
But still, I mean, that's not making up for it.
I read stuff backwards.
Wait a minute. So what do you have? 27-3 is their advantage behind the 3-point line. And what's our advantage? 14-6 or 8 or whatever you said it was?
Well, they're showing that they 24 to 21 point advantage behind the 3-point line.
Yeah. So I mean, you look at that, you're like, we're losing that battle of the points in the paint. And you know, overall, I mean, I'll just go through some stats just because, you know, so I kind of grouped these guys ahead of time and said, you know, this is the production we need. Indiana needs 75 points is what it came down to. And that's what I thought they would need to win this game. And they're on pace right now for 52. If they were on pace for 75, we'd have a tie ball game because Penn State has 37. So, Ginger, man, this I would love to be out there with these guys, but I tell you what, I'm not sure they would like me on this team because, you know, the good part about this is we had a bunch of guys like that, it wasn't like we had one person stick out. And this is where I think we had a huge advantage. Our biggest jerk on our team was not our best player. Calbert Chaney was our best player probably all 4 years. And he wasn't I mean, everybody followed him. He was kind of the alpha dog, but he wasn't the guy that had to bark at you. And, you know, I give a lot of this credit. We got time to talk at halftime. So you don't care if I tell this story, do you?
You got all, it's all
So
you, man.
Here's what I give just an enormous amount of credit to, and people would never, this is leadership. This is the definition of what leadership is. So when we came in as freshmen, we had 7 of us that came in. We had all this hype coming in of how good we were going to be in this freshman class. And the older players were, you know, we're going to struggle to get playing time and all that. And I will never forget it because I've never had another teammate do it other than him. And Jamal Meeks, the very first week when we got there, Jamal Meeks sat everyone down in the locker room and said, we need to establish one thing right now. We got a lot. And we need to establish one thing right now. And that when we go out there on the court, we're going to fight and practice. We're going to fight and scratch and punch and kick and grab and hold and do everything that we want done in the game. We're going to do that to each other out there on the court. But when we're done and we come in this locker room, everything is forgiven. Everything is different. You don't carry a grudge because a guy was holding you in practice today because he's practicing for the game. That's what we want him doing during the game. And Jamal, he told me later on, he had older guys tell him that when he came in. And I'll never forget it because he was the one that voiced it. And Jamal was very vocal leader on our team. But Jamal was the dog. Jamal was the guy that you didn't want to fight. And, you know, in practice, he's the guy that would, you know, nut tap you when you were trying to go through a screen. Like, it's not fun. Like, it hurts. It's mean. But that's the way it was. And then when you went in the locker room, it's hey, we're not allowed to bring it in here. And there were guys that tried to bring it in there. And the older players would immediately tell them to shut the F up, leave it on the court. We don't talk about it when it comes in the locker room. We had fights on the court.
But see, you got something. You all had something that this team does not have, and that is leadership. There is no leadership on it. You all had multiple leaders.
We did. We had guys fighting to be leaders, and this is what. And I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not at practice daily. I don't know who is the leader behind the scenes. Okay, but when Trace takes that letter the other day and makes a big deal about someone calling him out for leadership and that stuff or whatever, like. I mean, he's not saying what a lot of that letter. I'm not saying was that wrong. I get where that guy was coming from. Should he write it? I mean, it got to be kind of a goofball to write that, kind of. But I also get it. I mean, I get what he's seeing to say that. Now, for him to compare it to Calbert, he doesn't know what kind of leader Calbert was. So that was irresponsible for him to compare him to Calbert because he doesn't know that guy didn't know what kind of leader Calbert was. But we had a ton of leaders on our team, and Calbert was a great leader. Calbert was more of a silent leader. Calbert was the guy that, you know, he led by example. Like that's a cliche statement, but he led by example. A lot of guys lead by barking at you and telling you what to do, and that's another form of leading. And we had a lot of those guys too. And you just, you know, you wanted to be held accountable. You were held accountable, whether you wanted to or not. You were held accountable. And I don't think these guys are necessarily held accountable to that extent, to that level, the way that some of the good teams were. Hey, I'll tell you right now, never played with him, obviously. Only know him from meeting him through IU stuff. But I'm going to bet you didn't want to fight Quinn Buckner. I'm going to bet you he was a dog. I'm going to bet you didn't want to fight him.
That entire team, probably. All those guys.
Yeah.
And
but you know what? Think back on it. Like I even kind of remember I was young, but Scott May was very Calbert-like. He was very quiet-ish to himself, handled his business, did his job, not real demonstrative. And then you had everybody else, or not everybody else, but you had a lot of other guys that were vocal, big personalities. And you know, who's the big personality on this team? I don't mean social media personality. Who's the big basketball personality on this team?
They don't have one. I mean, Trace Jackson Davis has to, but it's not because of.
I don't mean who goes to the press conferences. You know what I mean. Like, I don't mean who.
Oh, no, I know and some people will wonder, well, it's today's kids. No, because you can look at other teams, and I promise you, you're going to find fighters on other. There are other teams that have plenty of fighters. Go look at Rutgers. Go look at Penn State. These guys are
almost all other teams have almost all teams have it. Like, that's kind of what you recruit. And I don't know. Like, you can say you can get away with not having it. I mean, I think they have a ton of leadership on Purdue's team, but I don't think anybody's like a mean dog. Like, I think anybody's going to fight you. I don't really see that in them, but I see a ton of good leaders and guys who all work together and play well together. I hate to keep using them as an example, but I said earlier, Indiana's not fun to watch. Purdue is fun to watch. And I'm not supposed to like Purdue. I get it. But I like basketball. I watch basketball every single night, and I look forward to when they're on.
It's a respect thing. They play good ball, man.
They do. They got a lot of movement. They play hard.
They play team basketball.
They do. They have good they all, I'll say, like each other on the court. I think these players really like each other. They have fun. Social media, they play games, going to the media, press conferences. Like, they enjoy that side of each other. I don't think they like playing with each other that much. I don't think that I don't think that they're feeding off of each other the way a lot of other good teams do.
And I don't know that it's the individuals. It's just I think that they've got too much other stuff going on. I've talked about this on the regular show. They are not locked in. And I use the example of Race and Trace and Anthony Leal at the end of their warm-ups before they go into the locker room. Every game, home or road, they're out there shooting those half-court shots, having fun, which have fun some other time. Right now, it's time to get ready for the game that you're about to play. Go lock down. Go get your head right. Go take 12-foot jump shots. I said earlier, you want to do something.
Free throws. How about you practice some freaking free throws until you shoot 85%? Practice some free throws.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't even want to get me started on that, because I know things are different now. I know players are different. You have to treat them different. Like, I get all of that, but I don't have to accept it. I don't have to like it. It is what it is. I love that statement because it just kind of lumps a bunch of stuff together and I can just move on from it. But I don't like it. I hate it. I can't stand the fact that, like, I'll tell you this. In practices, after everything was done, after we knew Coach Knight was out of the building, after we knew Coach Dockich was out of the building, we'd shoot half-court shots. We'd jack around. We would do other stuff. I wouldn't do it in the summertime. I wouldn't do it in a game, in a practice, anytime, if I knew those coaches would see it. Because at some point in time, that would come back to bite you in the ass. And it's just too there's too much fun. Like, I'll tell you right now, you know what's fun? Winning. Practice is not fun. Losing is definitely not fun. Playing like this shit when you're losing to Penn States and Northwesterns, I hate to say that because these are not the same Penn States and Northwesterns of when I played. I never lost to Wisconsin.
But Indiana should not be losing to them.
But I'll tell you right now, this is what I say every time when it gets to that point. So, would you trade Trace Jackson Davis for the center on Penn State? No. Would you trade Trace Jackson Davis for the center on Northwestern? No. Any other one? No. Jalen Huchefino, would you trade them for these other people? The majority of our fans are going to say no. And I would. There's a lot of these guys I would trade. Because when you build a team, this is what I hate about the ranking. This Pickett guy is probably the best player on the floor. I mean, he leads their team in points, assists, rebounding. Points, assists, rebounding, what else? Steals. He leads their team in all four of those categories, okay? He was a 3-star player, not recruited by hardly anyone. So take all of the ranking of the recruiting classes and jam it. I could care less. I don't want to hear I don't want to know what a player is rated. Okay, all that's going to do is get him more NIL money. Who cares? No, you know who's not ranking them? The coaches. Like I want players. I want you to fit pieces of a puzzle. A team is the pieces of a puzzle, and you can't. I mean, I guess people would root for Kentucky. I don't want to root for teams like Kentucky. I don't want to root for 5 new players that are going to come in and be gone after 1 year every single year. I don't want to root for that. I want to root for teams that are built with players that are going to be there for – they don't have to stay for 4 years or 6 years or however many Wisconsin and Iowa players stay for. But they can – I want guys that are going to stay for 2 or 3 years and build something and build a culture. And let me read this, Jamie. What does the coaching staff need to do or say to give the bench players an opportunity?
What do they need to see
or not see before they give bench players an opportunity?
Guys
here's
like
what
Logan
here's what I
Duncombe
can't
and
answer
those
about
guys.
that. So let me say it. Here's what I can't answer about that. Based on what we've seen offensively, and, well, let me say this first. Based on what we've seen offensively, how does Anthony Leal not at least get an opportunity to see if he can get something going offensively for this team? And if your answer is because he can't play defense, I'm going to call you.
Nobody else on this team is playing defense either.
Playing defense worth of shit either. So why not give him a shot? CJ Gunn? I mean, I would say, hey, CJ Gunn, you might regret this, but you might not. But go in there and every time you're even close to open, shoot it. Because you got a pretty good chance of making it. He's a good shooter. And he's getting an opportunity. And they're not putting him out there to see how many rebounds he can get.
And, you know, I've seen, we've talked about that a lot of people say, oh, someone needs to light a fire. You know what? At this stage, if that fire is not lit, no one's going to light it for you if you don't have it. You have to have something. Everybody can be motivated. I'm not saying that you can't be, but you have to have something inside already. No one can give you that thing that you have to have. You have to have it there. It can be brought out and grown, but it's like, man, some of these, I can't understand why. Who needs to get on? You're playing a game that is important. All these big games, and it just everything's the same. It's the same old routine, and that I can't understand. I mean, especially when you lose.
Let me this is hard to. It's hard to even argue or justify or explain. But let's take 2 specific players right now. Let's take Jalen Hood-Schifino, super 5-star recruit. Everybody in the world says he's going to be a great pro. Braden Smith from Purdue. Indiana Mr. Basketball, very lightly recruited, especially early on in his career or high school career, but very lightly recruited. You take those 2 guys right now. If you are picking right now and they're standing next to each other and you're picking your team, 99 people out of 100 are going to pick Jalen Hood-Schifino. Okay? But if you take 100 coaches that have all watched them play, 99 coaches are going to pick Braden Smith on their team. And that to me, but I'm saying all this almost in jest because you know what Indiana has next year? Indiana has a Braden Smith coming in Gabe Cupps. Indiana will be better next year, even without Trace Jackson Davis. And don't anyone turn that into me saying Trace isn't a great player, because I think he's an unbelievably fantastic player. But Indiana will be better next year because of Gabe Cupps, because he will get everybody involved. Jalen Hood-Schifino is a good player, really good player, but I don't think his goal is to get everyone involved. I think his goal is to play well and do all that. His goal is not to get everyone involved. Gabe Cupps will get everyone involved. And so, yeah, I don't want to right now. I'll start looking toward next season already, but Indiana will be a different team next year because they're going to have a guard that's going to play from day one, and he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, and he's going to get people involved, and their offense is going to be different next year.
Well, let's see what Indiana can do in this second half.
Yep. We started out with a missed 3, so that's not really a great start.
To get off on the right start.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're an Indiana fan, this is what sucks about being an Indiana fan right now. If you pulled 100 solid Indiana fans that watch every game right now and said, do they think they will win this game? I think 95% of those people would say no. And that's just not what Indiana fans are used to. That's why Indiana fans struggle so much. That's why they write the bad stuff on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. They get frustrated. Back in my day, I'll Bill Walton you. Back in my day, you know why it wasn't as prevalent as it is right now? You don't see it as much is because people actually had to sit down and write that letter. And by the time they write that letter, sense has probably come to them, and they don't actually send it. But now I can just type a couple things on my phone right now, and I can blast everybody on the team. And that's why everyone's seeing it right now. I'll tell you this. That letter that Trace posted, I will guarantee you almost every Indiana player, especially under the Bob Knight era, when we were told we had to read all of that mail and respond to as much of it as absolutely possible, that letter was nothing. We used to get letters that were so much worse than that, and we were winning all the time. Like we were winning a lot, and we used to get letters that make that look like a letter to your grandma. Like that was nothing. But I mean, I get the point of it. The point of it wasn't feel sorry for me. I don't think that's why Trace was saying it. But
I do.
Yeah, I know a lot of people think that too. And I'm not saying it to speak ill of Trace. I love
not
Trace.
either. I'm just saying.
Might not sound like it, but I do.
I think you should have just been.
Yeah, you eat that.
Pants up and
throw in the trash. If you don't want to,
no. Actually, you tape it in your lockers. What you do?
True. But no, it wouldn't even get in your locker because you should have 55 other ones that are worse than that. but I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just different. Things are different. Okay, all right. So we've cut it to 9, at least on my TV. At least 2 plays behind. We've cut it to 9. Ooh. Come on, make a run. Make me look stupid.
Funk missed a 3. Hold on. Look out.
Oh, that's Lundy.
The world's crashing.
Lundy. You got to get these guys straight. That's Lundy.
Well, on here, they've got – I was probably reading a few lines back.
Oh, I got you. Well. This is that's where we need a guest. There's the funk theory you're talking about. Man, how's he miss one that bad? Yeah, you're way ahead of me. If you'd already seen that,
I didn't see it.
Oh, you read it. I got you. Okay, all right. Come on now. Make me look stupid. I love looking stupid when it comes to this stuff. Make me look dumb.
Indiana getting within 5, man.
Yeah. Oh, 5? Oh man,
yeah.
You are ahead of me. I still have 7 on mine.
They're Indiana on an 8-0 run right now over the last 2 minutes. And an opportunity to get a little closer.
Okay, so this happened in the Northwestern game too. It got to exactly to this point right here. And then Northwestern took over from that point on. So this is where as a player, you really have to understand right now, okay, we're probably not going to get it back to this point too many times. So right now we got to have a really good defensive possession. So that wasn't it. I mean, how does that guy get that low on Trace? Like that's it sucks.
I'm going to just sit here and eat my BB's barbecue and not spoil it anymore.
I need to put some food in my mouth just to shut up because I'm going to start saying some stupid stuff if they let this get crazy. How many shots does Miller Kopp have right now? I'm going to look it up. Miller Kopp.
He's one of two.
One of two. No 3-point attempts.
No, I was going to say, and none of them are from a 3-point line.
No 3-point attempts in your Miller Kopp. You started. How many minutes did he play? Miller Kopp
19.
19 minutes.
So pretty much the
okay. Look,
game.
Let's not bullshit each other. What number option do you think I was on Indiana's floor at all times? 4 at best. Most of the time, probably 5. Whether Reynolds or Meeks was on the floor or not, depending on whether I was the 4th option or the 5th option. And I will almost guarantee you there was never 19 minutes that went by I didn't shoot more than twice. Miller Kopp has a green light and starts in this game, and he's taken 2 shots. That's not acceptable. Not acceptable. I don't care if he's missed 11. If he's taking 11, I feel good about it. I have more confidence in him than he has. Okay. All right. Good recovery. Good save. Come on. Big possession. No.
Oh, baby.
You can't let that cannot happen. It cannot happen.
Indiana now 2 of 9 behind the 3-point
He makes a
line.
great three. You know what? That should have cut it to 2. It should have cut it to 2. There's no way Funk gets that last shot off. Gosh. So frustrating. Why do I care more than they do?
That's
I
the
like
thing I was
care more
going
than
to
they
say. You bring up Miller Kopp. He spends a lot of time making TikTok videos and this and that and the other thing. That kind of stuff is starting to.
I bet he came up with the buzzword for the press conference today.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There was a timeout 5 minutes into the half because what, are we tired? We're taking a timeout 15 minutes to go because we're tired?
On the good side of things, Indiana is 4 or 5 from the field. Their last 5, I should say. They are 5 points.
My
That's
mom's
as close
texting
as
me
they've
to
been
calm
for.
down. My mom's texting me to calm down.
Tell her that we've got a whole
Sorry,
group of
Mom.
other people that say otherwise.
She's seen that. She's seen this story play out.
I promise you, she's seen a lot worse than this.
There's barely anyone in my. Obviously, Jessica's out of town because there's no way I'd be allowed to act like this if she was around. Okay.
Scott says, Todd, if you're on Hulu, which you are, try going to the on-screen menu and click the Go to Live lab.
It says you're live. I tried that. It says you're live.
It helps update feed.
I mean, yeah. Hulu sucks.
Some Pepto-Bismol.
See, so I tried clicking off of it, and I go to another game just to kind of reset it, just to see if I can get to a closer feed. I appreciate it, Scott. I'll take any suggestion anyone can give me because it irritates me that I'm always behind. But my kids will call me all the time and say, "Oh my gosh, did you see that?" And I haven't seen it yet. I miss basic cable. I'm like that guy in that instead of all this streaming malarkey. Okay, so you're right, Jim. You're right. Let's be positive. Where are we at? We're down 7. Where are we at? Are we still down 7 or are we down 5? Hang on. Now I got to wait for my phone to upgrade. Yeah, we're down
7.
Down 7. Down 7. 14 and a half minutes to go. Okay.
Hey.
So we got Galloway's got 7 points. Jalen's got 7 points. Trace has 12 points. Hey, should we put a triple-double watch on? I love it when fans start talking about that during the game. Let's only talk about if he's on triple-double watch if we're ahead, please. Because otherwise, I don't care if he has 9 triple-doubles if we're losing.
Well, now you got to be good.
Why? Oh, yeah. Mom. Sorry, Mom. Yeah. I shouldn't have told her we were on live because I'll get lectured for this one. But nobody generally watches the game with me because I sometimes don't have a very good attitude. But I feel like I want us to win a lot. And I know I'm no different than all of our fans. All of our fans want us to win a lot. That's why we love ourselves. That's why we love Indiana fans. Okay, well, there's a delay. Okay, well, you're trying to make me feel better. I appreciate that. At least you're trying to see everybody's a leader. Everybody's trying to make me feel better.
Man, Shafino is now 3 of 11 after that ugly shot.
And I mean but that's okay. Like keep shooting, just take good shots. I mean that's not a terrible shot. It's in the lane. I said
5. threes. Funk is 5 of 8. Lundy 4 of 9. Those guys between them, two of them hit 9 threes.
Let me tell you this: every single team in the Big Ten, when they're doing their scouting report, they talk about pick it first. The very next thing out of their mouth on every single team in the Big Ten is, we can't leave Funk. You can't let Funk get alone. You can't let him get an open shot. Not one open shot. Okay? You can't let him get an open shot. And he has, 9 or 10 open shots in this game?
At the half, there were only 2 players.
God. Oh, my gosh. You see that? Did you see that one?
I mean,
there's nothing you can do about that one. I'm not even mad about that one because that's 35 feet.
They've hit 4 straight.
Yeah. I mean, think about where we're at right now, and we're down 10. And they're making heat checks right now. They're making heat checks on us, and we're only down 10. Okay, so now we got the under 16 timeout. So now I can regroup. I mean, but this is – so here, they're showing it to us live on this. So Miller Kopp, how does this guy – where's Miller Kopp going? 3 people are going to guard that guy. I don't even know that guy's name. Number 0, I don't even know who number 0's name is. Look him up. Who's number 0? We got 3 people that rotate to number 0.
He's played 4 minutes. He has 0 points. He's taken 0 shots. He has 0 rebounds.
Okay, see, this is why you can't do the stuff with all of the press conference stuff and all your TikTok videos and respond to people on Twitter challenging them for fights and stuff, because when you make a mistake like that, you deserve people to call you out on it. You deserve to be held accountable for that mistake. There's no way 3 people go to help off of Funk and against that guy. If it's Pickett, you can't have 3 people go do it. That is unacceptable. And that's where, like, you want to know the difference between Coach Knight and every other coach that's happened since then is Miller Kopp would be on the bench right now. I don't care if Ship has to come into the game and play. Miller Kopp would not play anymore. Not a second.
That goes back to the question earlier. Someone asked, what do they need to see? Right there. That's what they need to see.
Miller Kopp needs to go to the bench right now and not come back on the floor. That's what needs to happen. That's where they're not being held accountable. And that's the coaches not holding them accountable. Because we have this deep roster. That's what we talked about. You and I sat here and talked about it the whole entire preseason, all the preseason games, about how deep they were. How are they going to find minutes for all these people? We got 2 people that are hurt. Yeah, they're 2 important people. We got 2 people that are hurt. We're supposed to be 10 or 11 deep. So where are they at? Miller Kopp's production in this game, 2 points, 1 of 2, 0 rebounds, 1 assist. You're telling me I can't afford to take that off the floor? You're telling me Anthony Leal couldn't stay closer to Andrew Funk than what Miller Kopp just did? You're going to convince me of that. Seriously? Give me a break. Like this is mute it, Mom. This is tough. Like, this is tough to watch. Like, this is the stuff right here where if we weren't doing this, I would have turned it off by now, because they're not going to win. They're not going to win, and I can't stand to sit here and let myself get this mad over it, which I do every game, every week, because I think I'm more mad that Miller Kopp didn't do that than Miller Kopp is.
And he's still in the game.
Oh, yeah, he's in the game. You kidding me? He ain't coming out. Look, they're going to run out of 3 signs. They're running out of signs for 3-pointers. They're having to rotate them and take the ones off the front and put them on the back.
Oh, my God.
And they're only down 9, Jim.
That's the amazing thing.
That is absolutely amazing. These missed free throws. I'm going to tell you right now. No. Forget it. It's stupid.
Indiana's 6 of 11 at the free throw line.
It's unbearable. Unbearable.
Penn State has not shot a free throw tonight.
No way. Oh, my gosh. That's amazing. Well, I mean, I guess all their shots have been
threes.
Oh boy. What do you say, Jim? Like, what do you? I mean, I try to be positive. I tried really hard.
Well, Miller Kopp finally did what you needed to do. But they let Penn State.
Here's the deal. Like, that wouldn't have happened if I was coaching, because he would have never been on the floor. So, I mean, I guess this is where Mike Woodson is smarter than me, because there's no way. Oh my gosh, that guy you're talking about that doesn't score, that has 4 points all season, just made a 3 on us. Yeah, they are. I think 12 for 24. No, the 13 for 25. Oh my gosh. Oh my. We need a comment. I need somebody to comment. I need to read a comment versus stare at this screen, because it is going to. I'm going to say bad things. You got anything?
Oh, let's see. I said IU won't win a single game until Woodson changes his offensive style. He's not going to change anything. I don't. I mean,
but okay, so like this is where I struggle with comments like that. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but like, changes his offensive style. What's that mean? Like, are we saying he has a pro style? Like, I don't.
I think everyone is assuming he's running an NBA type offense. And of course, none of us
with one possibly 2 NBA type players. So, but I mean, this is what we have to buy into. So they're doing that based on recruits. So that's how you get recruits. That's how you get the top 25 guys to come here, is run an offense that's going to prepare them for the NBA. I mean, that's Kentucky's whole shtick when they go in and recruit somebody. And I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying, in college basketball, you've got to have some movement. You got to move the ball around. You got to have some passes. You see what movement and moving the ball does to our defense, and we supposedly have a good defense.
Well, and I know you can't answer this, but Mike Woodson, having played under Bob Knight, why doesn't he implement a little of motion into what he's doing?
I'll say this, though. He spent – sure of this, but I'm going to say 4 years at IU, not 5. So say he spent 4 years at IU,
and then 20 in the NBA. And then he spent
how many years in the NBA?
Yeah,
and the last 20 in the NBA. So that's what's more in. I'm not saying that can't work. There's a lot of teams that are making that work, but still, let's get some. We don't have a roster. Trace Jackson Davis is a great player. So if you take what I say and twist this around to act like I'm not saying Trace is a great player, then you're doing a misjustice. Trace is a great player, but Trace is not a guy you base your offense around. Trace is not a guy we're going to swing the ball around, throw it into him, and everybody's going to stand around and watch him go score. That's very seldom ever going to happen. Teams have learned how to double team him and take it away. He doesn't handle the double team very well. He's not 7'4" and going to overpower everyone in there. He doesn't have a game where he's going to score from 8 feet. He's only going to score around the rim. So, yes, I think we need to change our offensive style, and this might have been exactly what he was saying. Not that it's a pro style, but we need to change our approach of running everything through Trace. That is not ever going to make anything different than the result we're looking at right here. Now, we'll beat some teams because we'll have games we shoot well or games that they don't shoot well. We take this game right now. What, Indiana's only down 8 or 9 or whatever it is, and they've made 13 threes? What if they'd only made 7 threes? If they're 7 for 25, it's not terrible.
Nope. So,
I mean, Indiana could be ahead in this game, and yes, all the same problems would still be going on. And yeah, they might win this game. They're not going to win this one, but they might win if Penn State wasn't shooting the ball well. Penn State is shooting the ball well now. So you're not going to win this game. Like, they're not winning this game. It was almost what is happening? See, that's a settled shot. Went in. Like it's a good result. You're going to be okay with it because it went in, but that's a settled shot. Stephen Bardo saying the exact same thing. He didn't like that attempt of the shot, even though it went in.
Yeah. Well,
how about that one? Yeah, how about that one?
Yeah, how about that one from 30 feet?
I mean, they're confident. We've let them be confident. I mean, we built their confidence up on making all those shots in the first half. Oh, boy. Yeah, he got fouled. That's a good call.
I mean,
Yep.
After this game, if they can't come back, Mike Woodson's going to have to look in the mirror, sit down with somebody, do something, and realize stuff ain't working, man. You've lost to Penn State, Northwestern, and Iowa.
Yeah,
Iowa was
you've lost to the bottom feeders of the
Well,
league.
you are the bottom feeder now.
Yeah.
Other than Minnesota.
And I mean, Indiana was the preseason pick to win the league. And they're getting ready to be, what are we going to be, 1-4? We're going to be 1-4 after this game?
In the Big Ten, yeah. And that's with a tough Wisconsin team coming in. Well, every game in the Big Ten is tough.
Yeah, I mean, other than Minnesota, is any game,
minus Minnesota, there's going to be.
Truly, I mean, so who do we have? Yeah. Do we play at Nebraska? Do we still play at Nebraska? Because, I mean, that's not even a guarantee.
Is that one?
I know we played them at home already.
Yeah, that one hasn't happened yet, has it?
I don't know that we do play them. I don't know those early ones. Is that the ones you don't play twice? I'm not sure. I don't know. Oh boy. What do you say to that, Jim?
I'm just trying to ignore it.
I mean, you know what's amazing? It truly is incredible. I don't have any explanation for how Indiana's only down 11.
And if you'd have said that Pickett would have 7 points and 3 personal fouls at this stage.
I can't tell you the last shot he took. I honestly can't tell you the last shot he took. But he hasn't had to.
No, because Funk's got 20 points on 6 of 10 behind the arc, and Lundy is 6 of 11.
They've got 2 guys with 6 assists. How many field goals do they have? They've got 24 total field goals. 20. I bet Indiana's number is not even remotely close to that. How many assists Indiana have?
Wow. Ugly forced shots.
Indiana has 20 made field goals. They got 13 assists. That's more than I would have guessed. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, we might have picked a tough one to start this live broadcast on. Picking a road game is.
People love it. It's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh,
whatever makes the people happy. That's what we try to do.
Maybe more comments. I think I can.
Oh, there's all kinds of them over there.
I think I can talk about. Why come I can't see them?
I don't know. You should be able to.
Hey, Joe, is there a way for me to pull comments up that I'm just not seeing?
Howie says for the Woodson offensive scheme to work, you need 3.5. I can't read that. 50% shooters. I need glasses. I'm blind.
Yeah. I mean, it just, right now you've got players. So this is, this is not singling out a particular player. But, so let's take Trey Galloway. I've known Trey Galloway since he was in the first grade. The most unbelievable kid and family that you could ever ask for. But I don't feel like as a fan, and I'm a fan of his, I'm a fan of Indiana, I don't feel like as a fan that I think he is confident in his offensive game. And I feel like he takes shots because he's the extra pass in the offense. And when the ball gets to him, he almost is kind of forced to take the shot. And that's weird to me. Like, I don't understand that. Like, he should look like he wants to take the shot. And yeah, thanks, Jesse. Nothing compares to Fish, though. But Fish gets frustrated as heck. He just is so professional. He doesn't act like this. But he gets really frustrated too, believe me. But I mean, like back to the Galloway, like, not picking on him, but I really want him to be confident in himself. I feel like I'm more confident in him than he is. And I've just not played with very many people that are that way. And, you know, on the floor, empty the bench. Like, I guess they're not in give up mode yet. Like, I'm with you. Alan, I'm surprised they're as close as they are. But I would agree with you. I think I would have emptied the bench by now. I can guarantee you, unless Leo has an injury or something I don't know about.
No, he hasn't played. He doesn't see the floor. He never sees the floor.
But why?
Great question. Why doesn't Logan dunk him?
Agree.
I've talked about this on the show. All right, Logan Duncombe played straight up against Caleb First in AAU for a couple years before they went to college. He dominated him. Caleb First has been starting for Purdue. Logan Duncombe can't even find the floor. He can't get 5 minutes a game. Hell, he doesn't get a minute a game.
Yeah. I never saw those games where he would have dominated Caleb First. But I mean, trying something different, like, this is what we've been saying for a while. You know, last year was the whole thing.
He did have Trey Kaufman on his team, I think. So that does
not
help.
Changing the starting lineup, but I mean, you know, they've tried to change the lineups a little bit and do some different things. But I just I don't see what your rationale would be for not giving some other guys opportunities, because it can't be defense. It can't be the fact that they can't play defense. I missed what it said. But so, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why there's not other guys playing. Maybe because they, you know, coach doesn't feel like, I mean, I feel like we have zero. Well, we're down 18 now. We definitely have zero chance of winning. But I felt like this for the last 10 minutes already. We got CJ Gunn in. Shoot the ball, please. So CJ Gunn takes a shot right when he's in. If he doesn't shoot 4 of the next 5 times he touches it, he's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into getting mad at the players and saying or whatever. I want to say what I do want them to do. And I want them to be tougher and more aggressive. Like, I don't know. I can't say what I would be like if I were there. This is going to come across really, really bad. Not the way I mean it, but I don't know. I don't know what I'd be like if after this loss and getting back home, I still had all that NIL money and a new car and a whole bunch of money in the bank, and I was still getting paid for doing this. Like, I don't know that I would have the fire. I mean, we just didn't want to lose. Like, we didn't want to deal with what would happen if we did lose. And so, I mean, we had a fear to us that I'm not saying is good, but I mean, I don't know. I don't have a lot to say because I'm just saying mean stuff now. That I'm not trying to be mean. How else do you describe it? How else do you say, like, these guys don't have the edge, and I don't know how to give it to them.
And I asked, I'm like, I don't know, obviously why, but like, you look at this roster, there are only 3 kids on this roster that are from Indiana. I'm not saying that everybody on this roster needs to be from Indiana, but there has to be a better mix and understanding, I think. And I don't think that that's there, even though you have Mike Woodson as a coach. I don't like that's a great point. He was at IU for 4 years or whatever. Man, he spent the next 25 elsewhere.
Right.
So
in a whole different system and I forget a lot of the stuff that happened when I was there and how frustrating a lot of things were and all that. I mean, imagine spending 20 plus years in another system and another environment and being expected to remember what it was like 20 some years ago. Like, I get it. But I mean, Mike Woodson, I'm not even saying what he learned under Coach Knight. Like, Mike Woodson was he was a dog. He was a fighter. He got more out of himself than, who on our team gets more out of themselves. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? Did you just see that? Seth Lundy just tapped Miller Kopp on the butt. Right after he just drove around him and dunked on him on the other end of the floor. He just tapped him on the butt, basically telling him, keep his head up.
Oh, my God. I mean, is there anything more embarrassing than that?
No, he should have fucking throat punched. Oh, excuse me. I shouldn't say that. He should have throat punched him. I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry.
We're not on radio.
He should have throat
to
punched
the people.
And Miller Kopp probably feels good about that. I mean, you're losing by 20. Forget the fact. I mean, even say it's Penn State. Penn State's pretty good. You're losing by more than 20. Penn State's pretty good, but you're losing by 20. Stephen Bardo just said this is not going to be the last time we're going to see this. And I know he's talking about Penn State being hot and making a bunch of shots. But what he really kind of means is this is not going to be the last time we see Indiana get beat by 20 this year.
No, and Indiana will not only drop out of the top 25 after this week.
They've already dropped out of the top 25.
Their tournament hopes are quickly becoming problematic for them. This team is not as, and I think they'll get X back in sometime in late February. I think they get Race back, but it's pretty late. And
here's the issue, Jim. So I'll tell you this. Let's look at it this way. You talk about their tournament hopes. They're going to be 10-6 in 10 minutes from now. Okay, they're going to be 10-6. They've got Wisconsin at home. I think they'll win that game. At Illinois, loss. Michigan State at home, loss. At Minnesota, they'll win that game. Ohio State at home, 50-50. At Maryland, they'll lose that game. Purdue at home, they'll lose that game. Rutgers at home, they'll win that game. At Michigan, loss. At Northwestern, loss. Illinois at home, loss. Michigan State on the road, loss. Purdue, loss. Iowa at home, they'll win. Michigan, 50-50. I mean, they're going to have a losing record by the end of the season. The chances of making the tournament are zero if things don't completely change. And I am fully confident in saying that. Sure. But things that have to be a lot different than what they are right now. I don't know what those differences are, but I know a lot of it's going to have to do with they got to score more than 58 points and they got to stop giving up 15 threes to the other team. 15 made threes. And that shot, it's just terrible.
Why shoot that? It's right out. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about. It's settled shots. Like that went in against Northwestern, so he ends up with 33 points. It's still a terrible shot. It's still a bad shot, and the only time it really makes any difference is right now. They just completely backed off of Funk. Now, it's a long shot, but he's already made one 7 feet longer than that in this game. And you can't lay off of anyone at this point, let alone him. Yeah. I mean, Jim, what possibly – I'm just – like the horse died 7 minutes ago, and I'm still
pounding
it. Like – I mean, they're playing hyper basketball right now. Penn State's playing like they're at the hyper. They're throwing behind the back passes.
Indiana has outscored Penn State 6 points in the paint. 28-22. That's scary because they've hit 17 3-point shots.
Let's throw this out there. Let's throw this out there right now. Just because. I mean, what else do we have to talk about? So if you are Malik Renew and this season's over, do you go in the portal?
Mom with a good comment.
I was on the good side of the Georgia TCU game, though. I was a Georgia fan. I live with Miss Georgia here. So.
That's right. I forgot about that.
But I mean, if you're Malik Renew, your running mate that you came in with is going to the NBA, so Shafino will be gone. Do you go in the portal?
He won't.
You don't think?
I think NIL will have something to do with that.
I don't think he's going to get NIL somewhere else. I mean, Nigel Pack got $800,000 going to the University of Miami.
Yeah,
this dude's from Florida.
He's not the one. He's not the one you have to worry about. I think.
No, but think about it this way: you're Malik Renew. This is probably the first time in your entire life you've ever sat on the bench. This is probably the first time you didn't start.
Yeah.
And definitely the first time you play less than 15 minutes in a game on a regular basis. So it's a brand new experience for him. I get it. And everyone can say, yes, it's difficult to transition and all that stuff or whatever. But I will guarantee you Malik Renew did not sign up to come to Indiana thinking that he would play less than 15 minutes a game.
Yeah, but do you think but should he play more? Who's he going to play in front of right now? I mean, I'm not doubting. I don't who should he be out there in front of?
Everyone except for Trace. I mean, I don't know. Is he? I mean, Race was playing pretty well, but without Race, like I told you earlier, I group players into three groups of how you've got to have. In one group, you got TJD, Malik, Geronimo, Duncombe, and Race out of that group. Well, Geronimo's played pretty good tonight, but he's played pretty good. I mean, he's played okay. Malik, why not roll the dice and put him in for all of Race's minutes? Like, what do you have to lose? You can't tell me he can't play defense because no one on this team can play defense.
They're down 20 right now with 3:20 to go, and I know you never give up, but
yeah, you do.
What point do you get to where I got to get these guys in and get them some minutes? I've got to get Logan Duncombe in. I've got to get CJ Gunny. I've got to get whether it's Caleb Banks or whoever.
Well,
it is.
I mean, you got Caleb Banks in. You've given up because TJD's not in there. So obviously you're just getting guys minutes right now. Why is Jalen Hood-Schifino in there? Why would he be in there? Put Anthony Leal in there. Get those minutes. Get him some experience. Nothing positive is going to come out of Jalen Hood-Schifino being in this game right now.
Malik Renew only played 9 minutes tonight so far.
Yeah, I mean so at most he's going to play 12 minutes. I mean, do you think he's coming back next year? Do you think he signs up for that?
All right, look at this. He played 9 minutes, has 5 points on 2 of 4 shooting. Miller Kopp played 29 minutes, had 5 points on 2 of 3 shooting.
How many does Lundy have?
25. Funk with 23.
Yeah, well, I apologize for my language, everyone. I should not have said that.
What are you talking about?
I told you at some point I would forget that I was doing this live. But my language is usually much worse.
I don't think that it's making them soft, but I think that it gives them too much of a cushion and a fallback, and they know that.
Transfer portal is not making them soft. NIL money is making them soft. The transfer portal is making them something else. I don't know if soft is. It's giving them an escape for everything.
Yes,
I mean
they're not guys. I think it gives them a reason to not fully commit.
Yeah, there's no accountability. When you see guys that are playing at 4 different schools in 4 different years, that's not what the transfer portal was designed for. Now, I like the transfer portal. I think it's good comment. Yeah, he was in for 29 minutes. I don't think he played for 29 minutes. I don't think the portal is serving the actual purpose they designed it for, but I like it. I mean, I like the fact that it's there. I think players should have a chance to change their mind. I don't think they should have a chance to change their mind 4 times.
No.
I mean, at a most, you should say twice, but I mean, once should probably suffice, you would think.
The 18 threes that Penn State has knocked down is a program record, by the way.
We're full of good records.
Indiana.
We're a record creator.
50% at the free throw line.
Yeah. Oh my. They're playing at the hyper. Penn State's playing like they're at the hyper.
Hey man, I was king of the hyper. What are you talking about? That's funny.
Yeah, we'll keep that in mind, bud.
That's that one there. That's one you never see.
Edward. Yeah. Boy, it's tough. It's tough to be an Indiana fan right now, unless you like women's basketball. The women's basketball team is solid. Soccer team is solid.
Man, they play tomorrow night, man. It's a top 10 matchup with Maryland. I will be out there.
It is all window dressing. Yep, that's a good call. Leo finally got in.
Yeah, he's going to have 2 minutes.
Look, he's got Funk. He's got Funk. I bet he doesn't leave him. He got Funk up there in the corner. I bet he doesn't leave him. Nope, he let that guy drive right by him. He's not leaving Funk. He knows the scouting report at least. He's not leaving Funk no matter what. Man, oh man, oh man. So are we doing any post-game stuff here or whatever? Or,
I don't think.
I mean, I'll comment on some comments anyone has. Other than that, like, there's no point. Like, all I'm going to say is repetitive negativity.
Yeah, I mean, just wrap it up and.
Hey,
this is not good.
You know what though? It was fun. Like, it was. I like interacting with the fans, which is why we talked about doing this. Like, I hope we get more people and we can obviously have something more fun to talk about. But I like the interaction. I mean, that side of what we did here today was fun. Last year it was closer. We have digressed. Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to compare seasons and games and things like that or whatever. I mean, this sucks. This is a terrible. I know it was a road game. All road games are hard to win. Indiana's not playing great, so yeah, it was toughy. But Mike Woodson has a car warmed up and ready to go. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah. Boy, it still fires me up at that.
Oh, yeah. Why? I was going to ask this question. Why put Leary in at that point? Why? What's the point? So he can show up on the stat sheet? He's already. I guess he's in the stat sheets. That's great. That's not good for his average.
Yeah.
But I just never understood that. I'm like, what?
I don't either. I don't either.
You know, at some point,
it's actually degrading. It's actually kind of embarrassing.
You can't do it, but at some point you'd have to want to go. Nah, I'm good.
yeah. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to.
I'm good.
But like here's where you look at that, okay? And actually, my mom made that comment there, but my mom also made this comment to me years ago, because I did come in with 30 seconds to go a lot of times, and there's 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 kids that would give anything to be able to go in there and play that 30 seconds. And so I get it. You can't have that mentality. Is it still embarrassing? Yes, it is. It is embarrassing.
Yeah, show up for the ladies tomorrow night. Absolutely.
Yes,
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. Hey, I love watching them play, man.
Keep showing up for the men.
The fact that they have Grace Berger back
has to turn around. Yeah, is she fullback? I saw she played the other night, but is she full-time back?
She played 27 minutes and 16
Okay.
I was like, damn, no one even knew she was coming back. And I was like, wow. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so I know that you would normally say just bury this, but it's 3 straight. It's Iowa, it's Northwestern, it's Penn State, and it's getting worse as it goes. There's no horizon. There's no sun at the end of the rainbow, man. There's no pot of gold.
No, there's not. There's not. It's very it's frustrating, but we just have to. Here's what I keep telling myself. I started out by saying this. I didn't expect them to be undefeated going into the season. I expected them to lose some games. I actually said before the season started, I think that they would lose some games you didn't expect them to lose, but they would probably win some games that you might not have thought they were going to win. I think the first part of my statement is for sure coming true. I'm not sure if the second part of it's going to come true or not, but I mean, you know what? We just got to keep fighting and keep supporting them and keep hoping that somehow it's going to click. And I hope it clicks in time to save the season, because based on looking at the schedule, and I wasn't just trying to be a jerk and say they were going to lose a bunch of, a bunch of those games that I don't think they're going to lose. I mean, unless they turn things around, unless something happens different, they are going to lose those games. And, this is the part of it. So these are the things. This is where Coach Knight would have brought this in. It seems like the fans. So you're reading this. People are sick to their stomach. People are disappointed, are frustrated, are whatever. And that's the stuff Coach Knight used to throw in our face. All the letters he used to get, not all the letters, he used to get hundreds of letters every day. But he would occasionally bring a letter in and read it. And it would be from a little old lady in Cloverdale, or it would be from, a 97-year-old veteran in Fort Wayne. Or it would be all these, all aspects of life and realms of people. And it would just be of how disappointed they were in our effort or in whatever. And half those games we won. And they just were disappointed in something that we did or some way that we did something. And I feel like I am, and I'm speaking for all the people on here that have the same frustration. I feel like we all think that we care more, like we're more upset than the players are. And that shouldn't be. We shouldn't even think that that's a possibility.
No, and again, I wonder, Logan Duncombe, no playing time. You need to get these guys better, and yet they're not.
If it were me, I'm not just saying this. If it were me, the starting lineup in the next game would be Trace Jackson Davis, Anthony Leal, Logan Duncombe, and I would flip a coin for the last couple.
I would agree with it. They cannot be any worse. Slow starts. You can't get off any slower. I mean, they can't play worse defense.
Nope.
So I don't understand the refusal to try.
What are your next game? Is who? Wisconsin at home. So you're not going to get out athletic. I mean, it's not like they're going to run, not like they're going to jump all over you. I mean, these guys, they're not athletic. So if it were me, based on what I learned in my years at Indiana, without using his name, I will say, based on what I learned, the next game would start Logan Duncombe and Anthony Leal and Trace Jackson Davis and 2 players I would pick out of a hat. Literally pick out of a hat. And
yes, Miss Leary, you did, but unfortunately, this team does not have one guy on that team that could ever do that. And I mean, there is not one guy on this team that has the balls, the confidence. I'm not going to say the ability, but they don't have the balls or the confidence to do that. And you got to have
the difference in that is every player would like to come in with 45 seconds to go if you're only down like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever it is. When you're down 20, Nobody wants to come in with 45 seconds to go. Nobody. Probably not even that 1,000th person I was talking about that would give anything to play there. That guy probably still doesn't even want to come in that position. What was that, Archie?
Oh, let's see. Archie's still getting paid. Yep.
Yeah, Hey, just one thing, going back to what I was saying earlier, I meant to tell this story earlier, but I forgot. So, we talk about these plays. Never mind. Forget it. It's just a rant. It's just stupid and a rant. I'm upset and I'm frustrated. My mom taught me you're better off, even though she's just typing away over there. She taught me to keep my mouth shut.
Here's a good one. That's a great one, John. Is Woodson tanking for Wimbayama?
Is there aware of? Boilermakers are fun to watch. You're right, William. They are. They are fun to watch. They play.
I'm trying to get to the
together.
comments, man. There's a lot.
Yeah, well, hey. So what can we talk about? What do they need to do to win the next game?
Well,
what is the problem with our perimeter defense? Under helping. Like everyone thinks that we're over rotating, we're under rotating. We're under helping. Like one guy goes to help, the next guy doesn't move. Like I will stand by that. You have to help. You can't play one-on-one defense. Yes, you can't give up straight line drives either, but a guy should do a better job of maybe one-on-one, but you've got to play help defense. The best offensive player is going to beat the best defensive player one-on-one all the time. So, yeah, the 5 that started tonight would not start the next game. Yeah. Trace would start, but that'd be about it. Because you know why Trace would start? Because I want to give those other guys an opportunity. I want to give them the best opportunity they can to do well. And Trace gives you that opportunity. Jalen Hood-Schifino is an outstanding player. Better than I could have ever dreamed of being. But he shouldn't start the next game. He probably should barely play. What do you say?
Pickett. They did a good job on him tonight. But
no. You know what Pickett did? You know what Pickett does?
He played off to everybody else.
He does what he needs to do to win. And right now he let everybody else shoot because they were all making them.
Between Lundy and Funk, they hit 17 shots. 14 3-pointers between those two.
They
both
hit
hit 70s. They were both 7 of 12. So what is that? 55%, something like that.
That's too much.
You got two guys shooting 12 3-pointers and they hit 55%.
It's not money. Facilities is something deeper than all of that. Well, yeah. Let's wrap it up, Jim, because I'm just gonna keep coming up with more things.
I'm trying. I
got no one else in the house here tonight, so I can just sit here and be as mad as I want to be. I don't have to be nice to anybody.
UB said that Bob might confess that he wrote those letters.
That's a good one. Were some of them probably made up? Probably, yeah. They probably were. But yeah, that's a good one. That's pretty funny.
See, you never had to deal with losing a fan base during your playing career.
Okay, but look at Jim. I can't comment on it. We didn't have social media like it is. Like this is something all new. Like, man, I would have loved to see what some of these people would have said. There's a lot of people that would have not agreed with stuff Coach Knight was doing. There's a lot of people who didn't agree with it. But that doesn't make them right. It doesn't make him wrong. It doesn't make him right. Like I was just, yeah. Hey, that last comment. Oh,
what was it?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
time to completely stop running the offense through Trace. That is a fact. That's a fact. He's not the kind of player. He's not Zach Edey. You know, like before the season started, who was the face of all of the Big Ten? Trace.
Oh yeah.
Right now, who's the face of the Big Ten?
Zach Edey.
Zach Edey is a different animal, and we shouldn't try to play like he's a Zach Edey because he's not. Is Trace an outstanding, unbelievable player? Yes, he is. Is he the kind of player that you revolve your offense around? No, he's not. So when we run those plays, my face is red like I have COVID, is what it looks like. My blood pressure is just boiling right now. This is not good for my health.
Indiana playing like this, they should play better for my health.
Yeah, they absolutely should. Well, I guess, man, I can't stop getting through these comments. You guys keep throwing them on there, man.
My earbuds are dying.
Well, I can't thank everybody enough. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad that we did it. I wish we'd had a better game, and I apologize for my language.
We're going to do it again. Don't worry. And not only that, maybe it'll be better next time because I have someone much better for Todd to talk to than me on here. And we'll look forward to that. But I can't thank you guys enough, man. It's been an incredible, fun night with you all. And please come back. Also, we're on the program tomorrow every day. For those of you that don't listen, Indiana Sports Beat Radio every day, live at 8:30, soon to be moving to 9, but 8:30 to 10:30. You can catch us anytime. We're on YouTube. So I guess that'll pretty much wrap it up. Well, thank everybody. Thanks to BB's and Endeavor Hospitality and Andy Moore Honda, of course. And man, it was fun. Not the game itself, but this is a lot of fun. And Todd was looking forward to it all week, and now I see why. It's actually fun just sitting here watching him.
Yeah, I don't think everybody would say that, but I'm gonna get better. I'll get better at it. I'll get us a guest in here that I can bounce stuff off of.
See, there you go, Andy. That was a great
Andy.
idea to have the Toddcast. Yes, we're going to do it again every game, man. Well, long as it's not no, we should be able to do most games because the post game screwed us when there was a 9 o'clock game.
Yeah.
That would screw us for that. So this is much better, and
we'll fight through it.
We'll fight through it, people. I appreciate you guys so much. And Todd, I'll let you say goodbye on your own.
Hey, you know what? Like you said, I had a blast doing it. It was fun. We'll get better at it. I promise you. We'll get some guests on here that we can get their opinions of stuff because I think everyone knows my opinions most of the time. And so look forward to it. We'll see you Saturday.
Absolutely. You guys have a great rest of your evening. And again, join us on the program tomorrow for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. And until then, thanks to Joe for sticking in with us, the producer as well.
Thanks, Joe.
And thanks to you guys especially. Man, I couldn't believe you guys. You're all awesome tonight. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.